We've received quite a bit of interest in my free to be workshop. So to that effect, beneath this video is a link that will give you a description for the workshop. And we've also included a special discount. So if that's something you would be interested in, I would invite you to click that link, and I hope that you would find the course to be quite beneficial. The longer you're around narcissistic individuals, the more you realize that these people are not emotionally steady individuals. And one of the most common problems that people tend to have as they're trying to make sense of their engagements with narcissists is they have a tendency sometimes just to flip out of nowhere. It's like, I didn't see that coming, but the narcissist can have a mood or they can have a reaction that seems to be way exaggerated to the situation right there in front of you. I mean, it can be something as simple as, an employee in a company lunchroom, and something is said, and then they just go off on that person that's right there in front of them, and you're just thinking, I'm just sitting here receiving all this venom. What in the world brought that up? Or it could be that it's in a social or perhaps an extended family gathering, and one false thing is said, and then that person can go off and they can start pontificating about hard opinions. Or in a passive-aggressive sort of way, it could be that more covert type narcissist, you've been getting along with them fairly well, but then for whatever reason, they just suddenly become a ghost. It's like, what happened? I thought we were doing okay. And then you find out behind the scenes from other sources that person is just completely ticked off at you. And these flip out or these flipping off kind of responses that they have with you seem completely irrational and unreasonable. What's going on? Let's keep in mind as we examine this notion that whenever a narcissist comes off as being a normal and reasonable individual, they're not able to keep up that persona forever. Deep down inside are all sorts of hidden issues that they have not come to terms with. They've got this real strong sense of entitlement. They have this attitude that says, I need people to give me supply. And when that doesn't come forward, then all of this anger and fear and agitation can come out, and you can be the recipient of much of the garbage that they're carrying on the inside of you. They've got to have the upper hand. And when they feel like it's not happening, then here comes the possible just flipping out on you. Now, there are multiple kind of scenarios that can set this up. For example, one of the things that can prompt them, at least in the immediate sense, to flip out on you is you refuse to play along with their attitudes of entitlement. Maybe they're asking for some sort of special treatment or honor, or you to just shake your head and say, yeah, everything you say is accurate. And you actually say the word, no, I'm not doing that, or no, I don't agree with that. And that can be all that it requires. And then they just completely go off. But you're thinking you're being illogical, you're being unreasonable, and I don't feel the need to go along with that. That can set them off in a huge kind of way. Or another reason that narcissists can just flip out on you is it may be that they had originally idealized you and held you up on a pedestal thinking, oh yeah, you're the best thing that ever happened to me. I just love being around you. And then over time, as your humanity is shown, or it may be that they just get bored with you, then all it takes is one false move and it's like, yep, I knew you were a phony, and they can just go off on you. And you're thinking, no, actually, the longer you get to know people, the more you see the breadth of their experiences and feelings. Narcissists can't deal with that, and they can just flip out. You're no longer on the pedestal as far as they're concerned. Or it could be that you see their humanity. And you begin talking about, I've noticed you've had this kind of reaction, or you've had this hurt, or this blunder, or this mistake that just seems to be haunting you right now. And you realize, that's going in too deep with that person, and they can't deal with it. They can't talk about their own personal frailties, and so they come up with an excuse. Boom. They flip out on you, and it's like, I'm just trying to talk with you as a friend. It's like, no, you're not. You're after me. And of course, you can see that is part of their paranoia. when they go with that. Sometimes their flipping out on you is a form of displacement. And by that, I mean they may have a frustration over here, and you happen to be the more convenient outlet for them. And so you may say something very innocent, or you just ask about whatever it is that they're frustrated about, and then they just go off on that. Perhaps they were poorly received by someone else, or there's been a hurt or a failure. And it's like, hey, look, I'm just the person that's in the room with you. And in their mind, it's like, well, good, because I needed somebody to unload on to. It could be that another reason that they may flip out on you is you begin seeing into their phoniness, and they know it. And it may even be that words aren't even exchanged. But you begin seeing, well, your private self and your public self don't match. And so let's say you just simply ask, hey, that wasn't consistent with what you told me last time. And that can be all that it takes. Their inconsistencies being called out is something that scares them. And they want you to just overlook that. You know, they want you to be a flying monkey, an apologist on their behalf. And when it's like, no, I'm not going to be that, that can be enough. Or another reason that narcissists can flip out on you is that there's a jealousy factor. Other people may like you or think highly of you, and that narcissist is thinking, you don't deserve that. I do, but you don't. And so they can flip out in a way of diminishing you and belittling you, thinking, I deserve that. You think you're all that. But in its own way, that implies a hidden victim's mindset that they have. People don't see me the way they need to, and I can't stand it when somebody looks at me in a lower way. And so if you're elevated, that means that they think that they're not elevated. In addition, another reason that they can flip out on you is you're decisive. And so they take your decisiveness as meaning rejection. And you take your decisiveness to mean, I made a decision and it made sense to me, so I followed through on it. But in their own self-absorbed kind of way of life, they're thinking, well, what does this mean to me? And they can't accept the fact or appreciate the fact that you actually have your own preferred style of doing things. Now, another reason that they can flip out on you is, let's suppose that they've just point blank told a lie, or you've caught them in some form of cheating or dishonesty, and you call them out on it. Rather than saying, you know what, I'm a frail person, I'm somebody that has faults, and I need to take a hard look at that. No, if you call them out on whatever their lies or dishonesty is, instead of going the honesty route, they'll just flip out on you with respect to that. It's like if they can put the focus on you, so the strategy goes, then that eases the focus on them. Or it could be that narcissists just flip out because of feeling controlled in general. And by that I mean, let's say they're in traffic and they can't control the traffic flow, or they're waiting for something at work to happen and they can't control how everything is unfolding, or maybe the kids have some adjustments in their schedule, or there's a relative that is requiring some special treatment and it just doesn't go according to them, and so they feel controlled, and rather than just making adjustments, they flip out. Now, I think it's very interesting for us to ask a very fundamental question about this. And this is something that a narcissist would never ponder, but let's ask the question anyway. And that is, what do narcissists hope to accomplish when they flip out? I mean, what's the purpose? Because they don't sit down and have a strategy session with themselves saying, well, here's what I'm trying to accomplish. It's just an impulse as far as they're concerned, but there's a meaning to it. First of all, when narcissists flip out, it's their way of saying, I have to regain control. And then second, when they flip out, they also want to accomplish the notion that says, I want you to question the legitimacy of you being you. That's the gaslighting that I mentioned a couple of minutes ago. So when narcissists do this flipping out kind of thing on you, I'm hoping that you can remind yourself, note to self, this person is not or never will be my safe person. Take that into consideration and just realize I'm going to have to be much more minimal in the way that I engage with that person. Don't collapse. Another thought. Don't collapse when they flip out on you. That's what they want you to do. But it's like, I'm going to hold on to my resolve. I'm going to remain true to my convictions. You don't have to argue. And in fact, you don't need to make any attempt to argue or to plead your case with that narcissist, because that's what they're looking for. And that becomes fuel to their anger and, frankly, fuel for their paranoia and their control over you. Instead, let's hold on to what I refer to as the nonetheless approach. Now, you don't have to say this out loud, although you might, but in your mind, you want to be thinking, obviously, we differ. Nonetheless, I'm going to continue being my responsible self. No further words needed. And I hope that videos such as this can give you some good awareness of what you're dealing with and can help you have some prompts to know how to maneuver through the world of narcissists. By the way, you notice that Gus, if you flip out on him, he doesn't care. He's just back there taking a nap. I wish we could be Zen like Gus, right? If you haven't already hit that subscribe button, go ahead and do so, and we'll keep more videos coming your way. Obviously, hit the notification bell that goes along with it. Sometimes when you're dealing with these kind of situations, it prompts you to think, I could use some therapy. And obviously, I'm a therapist, and I've been recommending people to that literally my entire adult life. We have a sponsor that's below, and there's a whole team of licensed professional therapists that could assist you. And so I would encourage you to go through that link and see if you would be able to select somebody that would be able to work with you regarding issues relative to this topic. In addition, we have my courses, and they're meant to be, speaking of therapy, a therapeutic effort, multiple videos per course with written material and questions. We have new ones that are on the way very soon, and so I'm hoping that you could avail yourself to that through our links. We have my books and other resources. Narcissists are just dysregulated people. They try to give the impression that they're together, but the longer you're around them, you realize, no, that's just a facade. When they flip out, I'm hoping you can remind yourself, this doesn't shock me. This doesn't catch me off guard. I knew it was going to come. Maybe the timing's not what you want, but there it is. And that being the case, nonetheless, I still need to be me. And in doing so, I hope it positions you to be a person of steadiness. And specifically, I'm hoping that you're able to maintain your sense of peace.